I, 26M, don't want to marry my partner of 3.5 years, 25F, despite growing pressure to propose. My GF and I have been together for a little over 3.5 years. We've lived together for over 2 years, share a smallish dog and 2 cats, and have an overall healthy relationship. We rarely fight, maybe 34 times total, aside from little tiffs. And when we do, it's typically settled quickly and we move on. She's very emotionally and mentally supportive, and in most regards is a great partner. I'm currently in a PhD program and she's working full-time. We have some similar interests: hiking, cycling, tennis, and we share a living space pretty well. However, I don't think I see myself marrying her. We have pretty different personalities, and I think that's where things really break down for me. I'm very goal-oriented, driven, have a lot of passions and hobbies, whereas she doesn't. She doesn't really know what she wants out of her career, nor does she have any sort of plan about where she wants to be in the future. Our senses of humor only click about half the time. I could go on, but I'll spare you all the monotony. There's been increasing pressure in the last 68 months from her family, my family, our friends, etc., on when I'm going to propose, and a lot of talk about our kids. We're both on the fence about having kids and us getting married, which I feel is only making me more anxious and rash about our future and what to do. I've felt this way on and off for over a year and a half now, and it's recently come to a boiling point for me. Internally, I've been struggling pretty bad over the last 6 months with this, and I know I need to have a conversation with her about it. I don't particularly plan on ending things. I overall enjoy our relationship and have a lot of respect and love for her. On top of that, dealing with a change in living arrangements, deciding who takes what, and the emotional blowback from ending a fairly long and invested relationship with someone I care for, while in an intensive research program, is less than ideal. I'm just struggling on how to bring this up and how to handle the conversation, because I don't think she will take it well. If anyone has any advice on how to initiate and traverse this type of conversation, I would greatly appreciate it. Feel free to ask for any details you might feel are important. I'm a pretty open book. Thank you. TLDR. I don't think I want to marry my partner of 3.5 years, even though our relationship is overall healthy and I love and care about her. But I don't really want to end things. Our friends and family have been asking me when I'm going to propose at a rapidly increasing rate. How do I navigate this conversation with her? Edit. Typos and little left out small detail. If you know that what she ultimately wants is marriage and you do not want to marry her, the only thing to do is break up with her. You are wasting her time. So basically, you don't want to dump her until it's more convenient for you? That's mean-spirited. If she wants a husband and children, let her go now, because it's probably not going to be all that convenient for her when you get around to it. I'm very goal-oriented. This is very ironic because you have no goal orientation when it comes to your relationship. It's very clear from your post that you are just happily coasting along. You are wasting her time when she could be with someone else who is aligned with her goal to get married. So let her go. Continuing to stay with her when she clearly wants to be married is selfish. She deserves to be with someone who actually wants to marry her. So you are perfectly happy as you are now, but you don't see a future with her. Is she supposed to just keep on like this until you are ready to go find the one who is good enough for you? Or maybe you are waiting for her to become good enough for you? Stop wasting this poor girl's time and let her go already. After reading some of your comments, you need to break up with her. You see yourself getting married and having children one day, but it's not with her, or she never is in that picture. In conclusion, You've been stringing her along for the last 1.5 years. You're wasting her time. No wonder you start to feel worse about things to the point you need to write this out on Reddit. Out of all places. What you should do is sit her down as soon as you can and tell her the truth. You don't see being married to her, and you probably don't want to be married to her. Let her down. Stern enough that there's a finality of it. To the point she's not going to beg for you to reconsider. Too gentle and softening up the breakup may have her thinking she has a slight or sliver of a chance that you will change your mind. Tell her you will not change your mind about marrying her. The separate with her. Hopefully still amicably enough that arrangement can be made. Who kept the apartment or etc. Listen. If you aren't sure, you need to at least tell her that. Tell her that you're getting all these questions about when are you going to propose. And you just aren't sure how you feel about that. Ask her how she feels. If you are more sure than not, be honest with her. It's not going to be easy. But it's kinder to be honest now than wait until later. I do think at 3.5 years. And at your ages, if you wanted to marry her, you'd know by now. You might disagree. And that's okay. But just loop her in on what's going on in your head. She may not be ready. Either. ETA do not tell her that you want to stay together because the thought of breaking it up and deciding who gets what during your research program is hard. That's not a reason to stay together. Talk about how you feel about each other. Plans and hopes for the future. Etc. You can buy new dishes and sheets if needed. Well, you say you respect and love her, but staying with her out of convenience is using her. That is not love or respect. Please be honest with her and end it. Otherwise you are wasting her time and capitalizing on her devotion. Even if you don't tell her that you have known this for 1.5 years. If you care for her future well-being at all, you will man up and clarify for her that you have realized you don't want to be married to her. After all, let her know that you have loved being around her because she's such a cool chick, so that blurred the lines for a while. Tell her you are very sorry for the hurt this may cause, but now that you've clarified why you were dragging your feet about marriage, you don't want to string her along anymore. If you don't spell it out to her now, you really will be being a major douchebag to her. 2 thoughts. 1. End it so she can find someone better who knows what they want and can communicate. 2. You will be solely disappointed down the road when she finds a man who appreciates her and you are forever hunting for a unicorn. And not the swinger type. I wasted several years on a man like you. Ask any couple who's been married for 30, 40, 50 years. Their partner doesn't fit into a magical checklist. They have flaws and strengths and they enjoy each other's company. Are you possibly a grass is always greener person? Do you realize she may be overlooking your own shortcomings and faults and differences from her ideal partner? But she realizes no one would ever be perfect? What is your ideal future? The ideal rest of your life? Not being married at all? Or finding a better partner to marry? You need to ask yourself a lot of deep, difficult questions here. Also, you're young. Tell everyone to give you both time. Don't entertain the opinions of others. You sound very immature in that way and probably just need some more life experience to know what you actually want. You felt this way for 1.5 years? You're stringing her along, man. If you can't see yourself marrying her, why are you with her? Long-term relationships are there because there is an intention to marry. If you don't have an intention, you should end things. You're with her because you don't want to be single, because it is convenient, until some other girl comes along that you do truly really want to marry. That's not cool. I wish I know who your girlfriend is so that I can tell her to leave you. There's no way around this. You don't want a future with her. She deserves to be with someone who does. You're just wasting her time. If you don't want to marry her, then you need to let her go and find someone who does want to marry her. I don't want to be mean, but your reasons for not breaking it off sound pretty selfish. And the longer you string her along, the more selfish it is. It sounds like you're comfortable with her financially supporting your dreams and ambitions while you accuse her of having none. Have you asked her about that? Maybe she does have dreams and ambitions. Also, some people have had tumultuous childhoods and dream of contentment and stability. That doesn't mean they're wrong and you're right. Just means you're not compatible. End of the day, you need to sit her down and be honest about not seeing a long-term future together so she can make up her own mind. Right now you're giving her a false idea of where things are headed. You know what you have to do. Stop avoiding how uncomfortable and guilty this conversation is going to make you feel. You are simply putting off the inevitable. If you do not want to marry her, end this relationship. You say you love and care for her but don't want to commit to her. You aren't treating her with love and care. All the time you are stringing her along. Because you aren't being honest, do the decent thing by her ASAP. Tell her the truth. As someone being on the receiving end of such behavior, it absolutely crushes you and shatters your heart to be strung along. Good enough to live with, not good enough to move forward. Be a decent person and break it off now. You are using her and deep down you know it. If you don't let that woman go as of yesterday, then just know that you will be the pure definition of human scum. You two do not make great partners. Great partners lift one another. Like how she is lifting you while you chase your goals. It seems she's content with her goal being to support you. What is your goal with her? It took you a year and a half feeling like this and you haven't done anything about it? You say you are goal-oriented and plan-focused, but you haven't planned how to let her down easy. Either you suck at being goal-oriented and planning, or you are content in using her as your support until you can't anymore. Ask yourself if you want to be a pathetic human being. You mention mounting pressure to propose from a lot of people, but you don't include your partner in that list. How does she feel about marriage? It comes across like this really having bothered you a lot for 6 months now, but that you haven't had a convo with her about it. Why is that? This makes me really angry for your girlfriend. I can imagine spending 3.5 years with someone whom you loved and cared for with all your heart to just find out that that person doesn't think you're worth marrying. She did no wrong and she doesn't deserve it. But more than anything, she doesn't deserve for her time to be wasted anymore on you. Gather your balls and break things up.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.